Hey y'all, this is TCA Gaming, and in this video I'm going to bring to you a CGC return, one that I have not done before. So I got this back. I'm going to tell you guys about the experience just a little bit. So these were all cards that were from that Raw collection that I wanted to go ahead and just get graded. I knew that they probably would not get a 10, or if they weren't from that collection I might have had some sitting on backstock. Like I know this one was on backstock. Same thing with the Dark Charizards that are next. And I just want to kind of test and see how CGC would grade. And overall, I mean, they were pretty consistent. And I'll show you what I got. The only thing that kind of threw me off was I don't think I saw a single 10 on centering for any of these. And I would have thought that out of all the cards I sent in, I should have some centering, some 10 centerings, but that didn't happen, so I'm not sure what they used for that part right there. I'm wondering if it's because these are subgrades, these are not ran through a machine or something, and then they don't give out a 10 if you don't have the potential to have 10s on other stuff. Like I don't know, that part didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. But these should go up for sale as soon as I get through all of that bulk consignment. I'm kind of saving my stuff for the end after those things. But all right, first up we have a Legendary Collection Charizard. This is the reprint from base set. This is the second reprint that had come out of the card. The first, well, if you don't consider base and limited a reprint, you've got base set 2, which was the first reprint of base set, and then you had Legendary Collection. The 10 in this card, PSA side, I'm sure on CGC as well, but it's been proven on the PSA side is very difficult. Next up we have some Dark Charizards. These were sitting in a box, and about sent them off, but then I was like, you know what, let's just give it a shot and see what happens if I send these off to CGC. So this one had a 9.5 on centering, 8.58, so it's a very strong 8. I guess it's like an 8 plus maybe. Next up we have a 9 on this Dark Charizard. Kind of weak. If that had been, well, it could have been a 9, it still would have been a 9 there, but you have one subgrade at the 8.5. Got an 8 on this one. Nice swirl beside of his face. Got a 5.5 on this one. That was because of, I believe, this crease right here. Can't tell what else, but I think the crease was the main thing. Maybe that's the crease too right there. Yeah, I would think so. Next up we have a 7.5 on this Dark Charizard. This one had a 6.5 on the surface. Probably that ding right there. Looks like they're starting to go harder on the dings and stuff like that again. Well, not again, but from what I've seen in the beginning and from what I've heard, they were pretty lax on that kind of stuff. This one pulled a 3. I was a little surprised to see such a low grade on it because it didn't have like any creases at all. I mean, I would say this is in way better condition than that 6.5 Ninetales. But it got a 3 on the surface. So, I mean, there had to be something going on. Maybe a little bit of a surface blemish right there. So this one was a little weird to me, but either way, it wasn't like an expensive card or anything like that. Got an overall grade of a 4. Got an 8.5 on this Charizard here from Expedition. Got a 9 on the base set 2 Charizard. I almost sent this one to PSA. The reason I didn't was because of the print line. I knew how PSA was pretty tough on them, but I mean, overall, I mean, it was really good. It was in really good shape. I would have thought it did a little better on the edges. Maybe flip-flop the edges in the corners. But overall, I'm happy with that grade. Next up, we have a 9 on this Dark Blastoise. This one was from that collection. I think this was the same thing as like this one right here. Like, check out the difference in color. Like, this one almost has like a yellow tint to it or something. I'm not sure what's going on there. I was expecting it to be a lot better than an 8. Like, I was actually thinking maybe this one could pull off, a 9.5, but the surface again got docked to a 7, and I'm not really sure what the deal is there, because I don't even see print lines on this sucker. I would have thought the lowest thing would have been maybe because of that corner white dot there and there. but this is a really nice smooth surface. So it got pulled down to the 7. I thought about trying to crack this one out and submit it without subgrades and see if it did anything, but I don't know. At some point, you're just wasting money. So, I mean, it's still a decent grade at an 8. All right, got an 8.5 on the Dark Dragonite. Got an 8.5 on the Shining Gyarados. Again, I thought this one was really nice too, but the surface pulled it down. They must have some kind of technology that pulls damage from the surface that I can't really see. Yeah, I don't know. 8 on this Shining Gyarados. Then we had an 8 on the first edition Shining Gyarados. Got a lot of little white dots and stuff. That's just crud from the case. But overall, I agree with this grade. I mean, other than I would still flip like the edges in the surface or the corners. Well, I can see the corners being a 7.5, but the surface just doesn't seem damaged to me. Maybe it's just something that I was missing. But like you can see the whitening around the corner there, and that one's almost like a print dot. But the surface looked pretty good to me. Got an 8 on the Shining Magikarp, a 7.5 on this Shining Magikarp. I think these did have some scratches on the hollow and stuff. Yeah, you can see that one there. It's clearly got some scratches in there, so I can see where the 6.5 comes into play. Got a 6.5 on the first edition as well. Got an 8.5 on the Shining Tyranitar, an 8 on the Shining Steelix, and an 8 on the Shining Celebi. I believe these were probably marked down on the surface for the most part. Yeah, the surface are all the lowest grades on these. A lot of times with these Shining Hollows, the imprint of the Pokemon could be seen through the backside. Most of the time PSA does not mark down for something like that, but in some cases they mark really hard down. I'm still a little unfamiliar with how PSA is going to do it. Looks like the corner's got a 7, that's about right. Surface 7.5. Surface got hit to a 6 on this one, so I imagine that's what happened. It's kind of hard to see with the case and the light and everything, but I imagine there's probably like a line from the bottom of the Noctowl, and that's what hurt this one. 6.5 on the Mewtwo, the Shining Mewtwo again. The surface hit it, but it looks like the corners were pretty rough too. Yeah, definitely justified on that one. Got an 8 on this Shining Mewtwo. Looks like the edges hit it. Can't see because of that crap. I wiped it off on the front, but I forgot to wipe the back before I put these in the little cases. 7.5 on the Shining Kabutops. Got an 8.5 on this Shining Kabutops. And I think this was the highest grade out of everything. Got a 9.5 on the Shining Raichu. Looks like the centering hit it the most, but yeah, that's a pretty well centered card. Top looks almost perfect. Left to right looks almost perfect. Left to right. I would say that this thing is very well centered. Huh. See, I want to know what you need to get to a 10. I imagine when you have to do these subgrades, that's just probably somebody giving their general opinion for each one of those instead of like actually measuring or something like that. Shining Charizard pulled a 7. Again, the surface hit it. Looks like maybe on the back side there's a line. I can't really tell though. And then we have one more Shining Charizard. This one pulled a 7.5. Corners were a 7 on this one. Oh yeah, definitely see why that one was marked down. So overall, I'm pretty happy with it, especially with the speed of how quickly it was. I do want to give you guys a little bit of a review on that because, man, entering in cards on PSA site, if you've ever done that, is such, like, they have their search terms so backwards. You put in more terms, it basically will show you every card but the one that you want. However, it's really simple on CGCs. I was able to do it really quickly. You type in Shining Noctowl. It's probably going to pull this card up right away. First edition and the unlimited. You can put the number in, you can put the set. It's going to just continue to narrow the search. So that's great. That was super easy. It was very nice to use their search process and get through that. I was able to submit it very quickly. once they received it, I got an email and they gave me a new order number. The only thing about that new order number is it never worked. It never got past the received status, and I had already received an email from them stating that it was being returned to me, and they gave me a tracking number. But then when I put the order, and they actually gave me a link for the order, and then I would follow that link, and the order would still show just being received. So I don't know if they were just backed up on updating their system internally, but they were definitely on it. I was able to get this order back very quickly, faster than what the Express on the other one. I think I paid like $30 a card or something for this versus $100 at PSA, and then they were quicker about it. PSA, they've got a good system once it's in there, like to be able to report issues and that kind of stuff. But they had this returned out to me very quickly, and I've actually had it for a few days. I'm going to go back through and look at some of these grades a little bit more in depth, but overall I'm very happy, especially with the speed and the price and the quality of the case that you get in. So that's my review of my CGC return. I think it's super easy to submit, and they're very quick about it. I would say that their links for looking up your submission are definitely not as quick as everything else, though. But I'd much rather have my cards back in hand and a non-working submission link than have to have a working submission link that basically just tells me it's been sitting there for 6 months. So I'm definitely happy about that. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I hope that it helps you in some way, or you like the cards that I show them, and some of those will be up for sale soon. Thanks.